What's going on, all my blessed people? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it might be when you're listening to this. I know it's been a little while since I've popped back on here to talk about how we control our life and how whatever we see outside of us is just a reflection of how we feel inside of us. We really do have control of how our life goes, and I know that's hard for us to believe, but when we really look back on everything we've been doing our entire life, we've always kind of seen how we felt, what our actual beliefs were, what we actually gave to ourselves first in every situation, whatever that might be. Like I said, whether it was with a relationship that, maybe we destroyed on our own, or our insecurities came up and popped in and the person showed up exactly how we thought they were going to show up in all the negative ways. And we didn't learn how to use it in a positive manner. And so we finally accepted our true power and our true outlook and our true control over everything that's outside of us. The idea that everything outside of us is neutral and we're the ones that give it meaning is so big. Like, literally, whatever happens, and whatever we see, is all neutral. We're the ones that decide how it's going to be. Is it negative? Is it positive? So that's why we always say, if you give something to yourself first, you already have it. And then nothing outside of you can tell you the difference. And whether that's delusional or not, I don't really see how that can be delusional. Maybe people will think it's delusional. I really don't care what you think. I don't. Because I'm living my life in peace and happiness and bliss, and I know that, I already have everything that I want. And you can do that too. And, there's numerous stories from other people that go through the same thing. And, time's irrelevant, but then they're sitting in a moment in their life and they're like, wow, I saw this exactly the way it's supposed to be. And I know I've told stories on how I've kind of created jobs and in situations that I've been in. And even though those situations looked me in the face and looked like they were going to be negative and denied me those positions, I still ended up in those places. And it's just like that way with everything. When I met my first wife, I looked at her and said, I'm going to be with you, even though she kept telling me that I'm not going to be with you. And we had a great experience, and I'm super happy for that. And even the other relationships I had, it's funny. It's just like, I didn't allow what they said or what was happening to dictate what I felt to be true. And then the reason those probably ended were because of me too, and the beliefs I had, and the collective beliefs I had, either on women or situations or things that were going to happen in my life. I just really felt it to be real, and those things showed up. So I'm going to take ownership for that. But now, like, I sit here driving off into the North Carolina countryside, car in sight, and there's a few. As I had to see my family that, at one point I didn't have the closest relationship with. And, again, I just decided, hey, we're gonna be close, and they're gonna look up to me, and they're gonna see me for who I am and be proud of me. And then that's exactly how it is now. So, it just, the random thoughts kind of came to my head that I have so much power, and so do you. And so do you. If you're listening to this, you have so much power, and you need to come from a place of abundance. You need to come from a place of already having everything, already having your desires, already having whatever dream life you might have. And I know that you feel like you have limits, and how do I trust it's going to show up? Or how can I believe that everything I see inside of me is going to show up outside of me? It doesn't really matter what's out there, but, you had nothing stopping you from trusting all those bad things that you were thinking, and all those things that showed up in your life. You just knew deep down that things were the way they were. And I always try to go to interpersonal relationships because I feel like that's the easiest to understand. Let's say you had a relationship in your life with a person, and it was great and good and perfect for a while, but then something inside of you, or you just started to have all those old insecurities or old patterns in your life that started to happen. And then you're like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be this way. They're going to start being a liar. They're going to start cheating. They're going to start talking to someone else. And then what do you know? 2-3 weeks later, maybe even the next day, You put yourself in that awareness, and that's what showed up in your life. And you had no proof that that was going to happen. You just felt inside of you, and you didn't want it to happen, so you were detached from the outcome, so that's what happened. So you can do it the opposite way. And no matter what you're going through, and if you desire something, and if you desire a person that might not be there right now, fucking say they are. And you know what might happen is you might end up desiring somebody else, or you might grow so energetically that that desire isn't what you really wanted. And all you wanted was the feelings and the person that was already in that loving, happy relationship. And once you give those feelings to yourself, like we always say, it's the person. No, we don't want the person. We want the feelings associated with that person. We want this. We want the feelings associated with that situation of success. We want the feelings associated with that house, that career, the money, anything that's materialistic. That's all we want. You know, we want money, we want freedom. If we want a person, we want to feel loved. We want to feel chosen. So already be fucking chosen. And choose yourself every day. And decide that you already are a person when you wake up that's in that end state of being loved and desired and cherished for. And if you're a man and your divine masculine energy that's focused on being successful and being a provider and you know, giving to those around you. And if you're a woman, being in your divine feminine and always being led by man and just being, you know, caring and joyous and free. And both sexes should feel that way. Like, wake up every day, look in the mirror and say that to yourself. And I you know what, I kind of guarantee you that person that you're attaching those emotions to, one day, you're not going to put as much importance on them. And, you know, what's going to happen is either A, they're going to come walk back in, or B, you're going to find somebody better that's more aligned with who you are. And fuck them anyway, because whoever rejected you, the reality that rejected you to your face, you know, they chose differently and they didn't see your fucking greatness, and that's on them and that's their loss. Fuck them. You know, they didn't want to be with you no more, whatever. Fuck them. Because, like, no one is you. And no one will ever be you. And no one will ever be good as you. And that's the idea of having an abundance mindset. You know, you go out with somebody, maybe they don't call you back or they don't want to see you again. That's their loss. That's your loss, because you're so fucking great that there's going to be somebody that's even better than that person that you see in front of you. And you're going to change energetically, and you're going to start drawing in the people that are more aligned with you, more aligned with the person that you are today. And that's all it comes down to. You're not looking for anything outside of you to make you happy. You're looking for it within. And once you have everything within you, everything outside of you will just reflect exactly back to you how you feel. And that's the truth. Stay blessed. Y'all are going to have a great fucking day, a great life, and a great fucking amazing rest of whatever it might be. And just remember that you already have everything, you already have more than enough, and you are the most fucking amazing person out there. Peace.